Well, I'm going to get this stuff out of here and go have myself a feast. But you know, I want you to remember one thing. Please remember one thing. Learn to read labels before you purchase something, okay? That's the lesson here. And the other thing is, this is living, this is dead. You want to be feeling alive, then eat live foods. You want to feel dead, then eat dead foods.
Okay, we're going to start our first recipe, and you want to turn to page 17. We're going to be doing apple oats casserole, the bottom on the right-hand side. And this is a very simple recipe. There's no cooking. There's just a little chopping and grating involved. It's very simple. You can do it a night ahead of time. Or, night ahead of time is good, and then heat it up in the morning. You can reheat it the next day. So it's very simple, very easy for those mothers who are working or want something quick and easy. Just make it a night ahead. Okay, first we're going to start with some baby oats. We're going to just sprinkle some on the bottom of a casserole dish. And you'll find with this and a lot of the recipes, if you're using a bigger casserole dish or a smaller one, you can just adapt it at home. I just put in all these things, and doesn't have to be exact measurements. Okay, just enough to cover the bottom. Then we're going to put some dates in, or raisins if you want. The recipe, I think there's raisins in there. We have some dates also. If you don't like raisins, you can just use dates or vice versa. And these are chopped dates. And an easy way to chop dates, if you just have whole dates, is put a little bit of flour in a blender, put your dates in. You don't want to do a whole lot, maybe a half a cup or a cup at a time, and then whiz them up. And the flour will help those dates not to get mashed and stick together. It'll keep them in little pieces. Okay, then you want to sprinkle on a little bit of the coconut. And a lot of people say, oh, coconut, that is, so bad for you. It's saturated fat. Well, in the diet that we eat, we're eating such a low amount of fat that you don't need to worry about a little bit of coconut in your recipes.
Amen.
Okay, then you can put on a little bit of oats on top of that. See, I usually don't follow the recipe at home. I just layer it in. So it'll come out any way you want it. It'll taste great. I always say I'm going to memorize the exact order and how we need to put this in. Okay. Then you want to put some apples on. You want to peel them and then shred them up. Either if you're making a big dish, you can use a food processor, or like she's doing that by hand. Sprinkle on all the apples in the middle of your casserole dish. Do we have any there? Okay, that's about it. For time's sake, we'll just put that much in. And oats on top. A little bit more oats, and then we're going to put the soy milk on top. This is a brand called West Soy Light. They make a lot of different flavors now. There's a lot of different brands. This is called Original. They make a vanilla, carob. There's also other different brands, West Soy. What else is there?
Eden soy.
Eden soy. There's powdered form, so whichever one you want to use is fine. This one to me tastes the closest to milk, like for cereals and things. So if you have a recipe that calls for milk, you can use any type of a soy milk is fine. This is a 1% fat. There's calcium and all kinds of other nutrients in it. So you don't need to worry about your calcium or your protein on this diet. And a lot of people ask, where do you get your calcium, where do you get your protein if you're omitting your dairy products? And then with the rest of the ingredients, you just want to keep layering them on, ending with your oats, coconut, and then we've got some slivered almonds we're going to top that with. So with the question, where do you get your protein and calcium? Those are the main nutrients that a lot of people ask. Where do you get them from? Your nuts are very high in protein and calcium. And you get protein in your vegetables, fruits also. Your soy milks have it. So what God has given us from that grow, you're getting plenty, all you need. In fact, our diet, the standard American diet, is really too high in protein than for what we really need.
Coconut also.
So any questions on that while I'm just finishing this up? Yes?
You ever use the apples with the skins on?
You can if you'd like. You can use the apples with the skins on if you want to. This will cook up a little bit better, so you don't have, sometimes those skins, you'll get it and they'll be a little chewy, or you might not want that texture. Yes?
You call them baby oats. What is baby?
Baby oats are quick oats.
Oh.
But you can use regular oats if you want to. It's your preference on what size you want to use. It doesn't matter. And you want to bake this at 350 for about, it says 45 to 60 minutes, but about 45 tops. So half hour to 45 is really all it needs. It just needs to be heated up. You might want to put your slivered almonds on maybe halfway through baking so they don't get too brown on top. And that's it. And you can substitute things or use your imagination. You would like to top it. It says top with Apricot Delicious. You can find that on page 19. And we're not going to demonstrate that, but we'll have that for your sampling later. It's very easy, self-explanatory. And we'll be using, it says apricots or peaches. Tonight we'll be using peaches. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory and no questions need to be asked, I don't think. So you warm this up, you'll have your Apricot Delicious warmed up, and then you can pour that on top of your serving. And so it's a real good breakfast. You're getting your grains and your fruit. And even since this is cooked inside, we always encourage live fruit. Or if you're having your evening or your lunchtime meal, fresh vegetables. If you're having something cooked, you always want to have some live food with it, either a salad or it's a relish dish with carrots and celery, something like that, so you get all your live enzymes. Okay, any questions? Everything else? Okay.
I even put pears in the middle of that, or if you want to try a different type of fruit, you can try a different type of fruit in the middle. That also works out good too.
I have a problem with breakfasts, I'll be honest with you. Breakfasts are the time that I skip the most, that I should skip the least.
Shame on you, that's right.
I know, and my problem is that my whole life, all the time I was growing up, we would have either eggs, fried eggs or scrambled eggs and toast, potatoes, or my mother would fix pancakes. And now it's come down to where, I'm sure everybody's the same way. We're so rushed in the morning, and we're always late. And no matter how early we get up, we're always, running around trying to get out of the house in the morning. And so the only thing it comes down to is a bowl of cereal, and then you're back to using milk and dairy products, which we're trying to get out of in our household. And I'll be very honest with you, I haven't found a milk substitute that I really love, and I hope I don't make enemies here, but and breakfast, and I'll be very honest with you, I usually end up skipping breakfast. And I know I shouldn't do that, but yet I don't know of any really good breakfasts that are quick and easy, that are healthy, that are a delight.
Well, see, like this one you saw was very easy to put together. You can just go home, put it together the night before, put it in the oven while you're reading or whatever, and then warm it up in the morning. Another thing, try the West Soy Light. That, to me, is the closest to cow's milk on cereal. And if it needs to be, your cereal needs to be a little sweeter, maybe a little bit of pure maple syrup on it. But try not to skip breakfast and have your fruit, especially in the morning with your grain. Cereal's not bad, but make sure it's a good whole grain cereal, not some like the sugar frosted whatever, And it's just like going on a trip. When do you put gas in your car?
At the beginning.
At the beginning of the
We don't
the
have
trip,
a problem
right?
with lunch or dinner, supper,
Okay,
getting balanced meals, but it's the breakfast.
Okay, put your alarm clock 15 minutes ahead of time.
Okay.
And don't hit that snooze button.
Really?
Get up and pray about it.
Oh, really?
Because
I agree with that.
When you
Make a
start
matter of prayer.
when you start a trip, you put the gas in the car in the beginning. You'll find that you'll feel better, you'll have more energy through lunch, you'll have that more stamina, your mind will be more awake because you fed your brain with some nutrients. You'll feel a lot better.
I think the meal that most of us fail on is breakfast. I know that I do, and I think that's where we need
the one you'd
special
want
help.
to take out the most would be your dinner.
Right.
Because that's when you're least active after dinner.
Yeah.
That's when the food sits in your stomach. You're usually not as active. You're not out exercising or on the run. And that's when the calories and pounds, that's when you usually put them on, is the dinner time meal. So our dinner mimics breakfast. And our big meal is our lunch.